We want to use mobile devices as the platform for a new Diablo game.
I'm going to be talking about why I think that from a marketing perspective, it was actually a very good financial move for Blizzard in terms of the marketing reach they got from it and how much third-party content and free advertising they have got around that announcement. And we're going to kind of talk about why I think they announced it in the way that they did. I don't say that I typically agree with this from someone who's a big fan of Diablo and Blizzard in general, but I think when you put on your marketing hat, you kind of have to look at this and be like, I get it, I get it, I get it. Many of you know from the last month that Blizzard made an oopsie, a rather big one in the eyes of hardcore Diablo fans. So if you haven't already been caught up with it, basically...
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones.
Blizzcon, which is a huge event that happens every year, which invites all of its hardcore, mainly loyal consumer base to get updates about any new content that's coming up, any new IPs, anything related to the current Blizzard lineup of games. And what Blizzard decided to do, instead of announcing a new Diablo game for PC, is that they came out with a mobile version which really struck a wrong chord for a lot of the community.
Is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
Let's roleplay as Blizzard are trying... Oh, that's bad. So let's roleplay at Blizzard. You are a marketing executive in charge of a mobile Diablo game. You're probably well aware that the community is expecting a Diablo 4 announcement. You know that if you were to come out with a mobile game of Diablo, it's not going to go down that well with the community because it's basically built for the Chinese market. It's being made by a company known for its aggressive monetization in mobile games, and that monetization in mobile games is a very hot topic because a lot of people really disapprove of the practice. So you know you're kind of screwed and you're sitting there being like, oh, fuck, what are we gonna do? And you kind of realize a few things, maybe. You think, okay, so out of the people who come to BlizzCon, it's going to be that loyal, hardcore audience. You know that out of this group, realistically, how many of those players do you think will actively adopt a mobile game of Diablo? You know, some, not all. What is our target market? Like, who are we trying to attract here? And they bring up the stats for mobile games and like, oh shit, like, there's a huge market for mobile games. Oh, that's Blizzard, okay, that's why they're doing this thing. They've got this huge market. The mobile games industry makes a huge amount of money, much more than PC gaming industry does, but I think 5 times over. The mobile market is huge. What I think they did here, and they were trying to figure out how to maximize the amount of money spent on the announcement versus the amount of potential reach they're going to get. This whole, if you think about the Diablo segment, so these are the people who know about Diablo, and then you need to look at like the mobile market in general. How do you attract all these people when you've got this core base here who may or may not even like the game? So you're like, okay, maybe, hypothetically, you might not like this, but at BlizzCon we announce only the mobile game. We don't talk about Diablo 4. It's too early to talk about that. We're not even allowed to talk about that at BlizzCon because we've got nothing to show. We did the same thing with Titan, and we had to cancel that. That wasn't a good look. So we can't talk about Diablo. We can only really talk about this game. So what happens if we announce this mobile game and that's it? And somebody puts their hands up and they go, people are going to be pissed. They're going to be real mad if we do that. And you're like, okay, what happens when people get mad over a franchise? Okay, well, they talk about it on forums. People like to cover it because it's a bit of a hot topic issue and people like to feed on that hate a little bit. And then someone goes, oh, okay. So if we announce it at the Diablo conference at BlizzCon, and that's our only announcement, what are people's reactions going to be? Well, they're going to be real pissed. Okay, so people are going to write about that, right? Yeah. Do you think that if we announced Diablo Mobile before or after BlizzCon, people would write about it as much? Not really, no. They might get a little bit pissed off, but it'll just be like, cool, we're Diablo going to mobile. Some people are angry, but it's not really a big deal. But if we do it at BlizzCon, which is the most hardcore dedicated fan base, they're going to be so riled up. There's going to be a lot of content created around that. And so stepping back from the roleplay situation here, look at what has happened. There has been thousands of hours of Diablo-related mobile content across the last couple of months. It's been huge. There have been articles all over the internet from major publications. Kotaku just released their Diablo history. There has been a whole load of YouTubers talking about the Diablo fiasco. There was the infamous meme. It's been memed. It's been talked about on podcasts. It's been on basically every single type of media available because people are really pissed off about this. It hasn't just been about Diablo Mobile as well. It's been about what is the current state of Diablo 4. What are the developers working on? Are the good developers all working on mobile games, or are they still working on Diablo 4? Like what's happening there? Who's this actually being marketed for? We all know it's mainly catered towards the Chinese market. So what are the differences between the Chinese market and the Western market? How did those two differentiate, and where does Diablo fit into that? What about this new company that's making the Diablo mobile game? It's been a whole collateral series of articles written across this one announcement, and if you think about it from a marketing perspective, from someone at Blizzard who's been tasked with getting as much reach as possible from this single announcement, I think they've slam dunked it. You know, whoever was in charge of the books here was looking at this and being like, holy shit, the amount of value we got from this is insane. So while I really don't agree with how they've really pinpointed this one very vocal community and then kind of leached off that and relied on their discontent with the announcement to kind of spurn all these other announcements, I can't really blame them because it was a smart move. And I think from a Blizzard standpoint, they've done a really good job. They've done a very good job in putting X amount of money into this little basket and then sending that off. And they've had months worth of content created around this single game launch. It gets people talking about the company and the industry, and it's all related back to Diablo, whether in a positive light or a negative light. And I think what they were going for here was just publicity and reach. They wanted to get out that there is a mobile game for Diablo. And the way in which they did that, unfortunately for us as the consumer of their products, was they leveraged the amount of hostility and backlash that they knew they were going to get by announcing at BlizzCon. When you consider the player base, the Diablo player base as it stands, you know, you've got the really hardcore Diablo enthusiasts who are only ever going to play on PC. You're not going to attract them to a mobile game. But you rile those guys up now in 2018. When Diablo 4 actually does come out in 2020, if it does come out in 2020, do you think everyone's still going to be really pissed off about the mobile game? Probably not. It'll be a thing. A couple of people from that, you know, core audience might have actually played it and enjoyed it. Some might not like it at all. But at the end of the day, if they come out with Diablo 4, I don't think they're going to miss that opportunity to play Diablo 4 because they're pissed off about a mobile game. If it's a genuinely good game, if Diablo 4 is good, and I really hope it is, I think they'll still pick it up. They haven't really lost anything by pissing off this group now, and I think they know that, which again does suck, but I think it's the best move for them, to be honest. Yeah. Anyway, let me know your comments down below if you think I'm totally out of line and this was not the decision at all and they don't know their audience anymore. It could be a valid reason, but I think the people at Blizzard are intelligent, they know what they're doing, they had reasons for why they did it, and yeah, that's kind of where we are today. So there'll probably be no more Diablo content from me, but that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you in the next one.